One day, Catherine Bach was just another cute brunette. The next, she became one of the most recognizable and culture-defining women in American history, to the point that a single picture of her caused a huge scandal in the White House. How? Let's find out while showing you some of her most rare photos. On March 1st, 1954, Catherine Bach was born in Cleveland, Ohio, to Norma Jean Kucera and Bernard P. Bachman. Her mother was an acupuncturist, and her father was a rancher. While her father claimed German ancestry, her mother was descended from the Verdugo family, one of the earliest Spanish settlers in California. Her combined ethnicity served to give her a hint of exoticism that greatly enhanced her looks. Despite being born in Ohio, Catherine spent the majority of her childhood in South Dakota. She split her time between living with her grandparents and living on a ranch. Being a farm girl gave Catherine an edge that would come to serve her well later in life. She was no stranger to working with her hands, and this proved to be a key advantage in her chosen career. In 1970, when she was 16 years old, Catherine graduated from Stevens High School in Rapid City, South Dakota. She then moved all the way to Los Angeles to study at UCLA. Right from an early age, she decided she wanted to be an actress and ended up majoring in drama. Even though the standard of living was high, she supported herself by making clothes for her friends and for various theater groups. Already, her skill at working with her hands was coming in handy. Catherine left college before she graduated to attend the Call of Hollywood. As a very pretty young actress, she was attracting the attention of agents already. Sure, there were no big roles on the table for her yet. However, she was offered a couple of key supporting roles that could springboard her higher through the industry. Catherine's first screen appearance was in the 1973 murder mystery The Midnight Man, led by Hollywood legend Burt Lancaster. Though Catherine had appeared in a local production of The Sound of Music years before, this was a whole other ballgame. Sure, her role as a murder victim was a small one. However, the experience was valuable as she learned a lot. In 1974, Catherine got her next big role in the cult classic Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. She had a more substantial role as the character Melody. Starring alongside Hollywood giants like Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges, she received much more attention from the industry, so much so that she set herself up for her next big career-defining role. In 1976, when Catherine was 22 years old, she got married to David Shaw, who was the stepson of screen goddess Angela Lansbury. While actresses typically have husbands who hate it when they play a certain type of role, David had early exposure to the industry and had a pretty open mind. In fact, he was the one who heard about an upcoming show titled The Dukes of Hazzard and encouraged Catherine to apply. Catherine didn't know what to expect, but she attended the audition anyway. At the audition, the producers were on the search for a Dolly Parton lookalike. However, the moment Catherine walked in, they were wowed by her. Even though they didn't know it, she was actually everything they were looking for. A beautiful, talented, salt-of-the-earth actress who had a rustic background and was not afraid to get her hands dirty. Furthermore, her appearance in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot was a huge advantage. They wanted to cast her in a similar role, where she'd be working with cars. Forgetting the Dolly Parton bit, they pretty much hired her on the spot. From here, everything should have been smooth sailing. But when Catherine learned more about the role and about the character known as Daisy Duke, she started to have second thoughts. See, The Dukes of Hazzard was a show about a family that used guerrilla tactics to fight corrupt cops and greedy businessmen. To ensure that it was a hit, the producers were relying on good old pillars of human nature such as violence, comedy, and sex. As Daisy Duke, the eye candy of the cast, Catherine would have to be the main supplier of sexual innuendos. She would have to put herself out there in a way she hadn't done before. At first, Catherine was hesitant, but then she leaned into the role, taking control and making it hers. For one, the producers wanted her to wear an outfit that comprised of a turtleneck, go-go boots, and a poodle skirt. However, Catherine brought her own clothes, including a t-shirt, cut-off denim shorts, and high heels. This proved to be one of the best decisions of Catherine's life because it became a fashion and culture-defining moment. Till today, that style of clothing is still colloquially known as Dicey Dukes. The look is so thoroughly associated with the character that it has helped Catherine achieve TV history immortality. It also played a huge role in helping her ascend to the status of a sex symbol. Right from the get-go, The Dukes of Hazzard was a resounding success. It played for 7 chart-topping seasons, Often the only show that could contend with it was the mega family drama Dallas. Even though The Dukes of Hazzard was quite pulpy, it attracted a very large and varied audience. To promote the show, the producers suggested to Catherine that she pose for a special poster. Catherine agreed, going on to create one of the most iconic photographs in American TV history. The poster sold 5 million copies, generating revenue for the show as well as actively helping promote it. In fact, then First Lady Nancy Reagan took a liking to the photo when Catherine gave her a signed copy after visiting the White House. Some people thought that liking such a photo was beneath the First Lady, but Nancy didn't care one bit, because Catherine had to work with a car most of the time on the show, often involved in incredible car chases and complex stunts. She had her legs insured for $1 million. Sure, nothing serious happened to her over the course of the show. However, she helped set the precedent of actresses, models, and singers insuring their body parts. Eventually, The Dukes of Hazzard ran its course on national TV. It had been 7 lovely years, but they had run out of road. Each of its key stars, including Catherine, would have to move on. That was when Catherine's star started to fade. Catherine Bach never found a role as iconic as Daisy Duke. However, thankfully, her role as Daisy was so iconic that she could continue eating off it for years. Part of the problem was that she was getting older and could no longer appear in the young and sexy roles that had made her famous. Fortunately, her other enterprises, such as a 2002 jewelry line, helped keep her financially afloat. The shelf life of any sex symbol is very short. They burn very, very bright and fade very, very fast. In the case of Catherine Bach, she had a lot of say in how she was portrayed on TV and leaned a lot into the role. As such, when it was all over, she could walk away with pride rather than with shame. Even though Daisy was always a bubbly character on TV, Catherine experienced her fair share of personal tragedies. After 5 years of marriage, she ended up divorcing David Shaw in 1981. 9 years later, she married entertainment lawyer Peter Lopez, who had represented Michael Jackson. Although the couple had 2 daughters, their 20-year marriage ended in tragedy. On April 30th, 2010, the 60-year-old Lopez was found shot dead in his Encino Hills home. His death was ruled an apparent self-termination. Neighbors heard a gunshot and called the police. When they arrived, it was already too late. Approaching her 70s, Catherine Bach lives a very quiet life, away from the media. In her rare public appearances, Catherine has been berated for how fat and wrinkled she looks now. Knowing that aging is just a part of life, Catherine has never deigned to respond to these criticisms. Instead, she just goes on living her life as best as she can. Perhaps a part of Daisy Duke has lived within her all this time. Perhaps that part never existed until she stepped into the role. This has been the story of Catherine Bach, the sex symbol who made the absolute most of her prime years and crafted one of the most iconic characters in TV history. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.